Let's go ahead now and talk to a former FBI Special Agent, Lance Leising. Lance, thank you for being here today. You've had a chance to look at this tape, I'm sure. First of all, give me your overall impressions. How useful is this?
Oh, this is the break in the case that they needed. This breathes life back into the case. Not only can you put that image out there and get relevant tips this time, not just random tips that I'm sure they're getting thousands of, but you also have dozens of items in that surveillance image to follow up on. A unique holster, the potential gun that's in there, or potentially a fake gun just meant to intimidate. That the shape of that looks unusual. The shape of the holster and where it's located is definitely unusual. Unique items that he's wearing: the backpack, the jacket, multiple layers, almost excessive layers of clothing and gloves that he's wearing when he goes up there. I mean, this is the break in the case that they needed. And hopefully it will help them triage and prioritize tips as they come in. Because if a tip identifies something in that surveillance video that they've seen, then they know it could be legitimate and they need to follow up on it right away.
Lance, I'm wondering, you brought out a lot of details. Of course, the fact that he was armed, the holster, the backpack. But what else speaks to you about him? Whether it's from the demeanor, the movements, how he looks, how sophisticated perhaps he may seem, how familiar he may seem. What else speaks to you about the video and the images?
Yeah, I think there's a lot you could take from it. He doesn't look to be that nimble when he's walking up there. That could be the darkness around him rather than just his normal gait. Looks like maybe has a flashlight in his mouth. You see a light that appears sometimes. I'm not sure if that's a reflection or a light. It looks to me like a light that he's wearing holding in his mouth at times. You can also tell that he's not very sophisticated, at least in my opinion. He walks up, he almost looks surprised that Nest camera is there off to the side. If he wanted to conceal his movement all the way up there and get to the side of that Nest camera and then disable it, probably could have. So I don't think he's all that sophisticated. I think he went to great lengths to conceal his face, but it doesn't look like he did a lot of reconnaissance or planning. The backpack is also, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I said that's interesting that you're mentioning that. Sorry, yeah, go. The backpack has also intrigued me. Go into that, Lance. That looks like a very full backpack.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Very full backpack. The first thing that jumped out at me, this video is not going to be able to tell motive, but you can get some indicators from here. So that full backpack, why are you carrying so many items or such apparently full backpack into the house? Now, those could be, I mean, you could assume a lot of things. It could be restraints if he's looking to kidnap a victim.
That's a lot of
However,
restraints.
It could also be exactly. It could be bags to take something out that he thinks is valuable inside that house, and he's going to take something away. So the motive could have been a direct robbery, and then something goes wrong in that house. Nancy unfortunately gets hurt, which is evidenced by the blood, and then his plans change.
I thought it was interesting that he went back to pick up those flowers and use it to cover the camera. Why not? I mean, he's using his other hand. Why not just open his hand and block that camera with the palm of his hand? It's big enough, obviously, with the multiple gloves, perhaps. But, I feel like moving away from the camera, that shows more movement. Did that strike you as odd as well?
It's irrational. And not that anybody who would do a crime like this is irrational, right? But that's an irrational reaction. You're going to grab a small bush or weeds from the front yard to try to conceal your face going back up towards that camera. He wasn't planning for that camera to be there. He wasn't expecting that. And that was his reaction when he had to make a change of plans, which likely stayed the same inside the house. If it's not going exactly like he planned, his actions could have been irrational inside the house as well.
All right, Lance, you brought up a couple of things early on that I kind of want to explore a little bit more. You talked about how unusual the holster of the gun was. Go into that. What kind of holster do you think this is, and why is it unusual?
Yeah, so most holsters that are worn along the belt are worn either on the left or right hip or sometimes in the small of the back. Front like that, very unusual. The only time you'd wear a front holster if it's like a secondary weapon and it's up on a tactical vest or something. But down low where it is like that, that's unusual. The length of that holster is also unusual. If you look how long that is, that doesn't strike me as a typical holster for like a normal semi-automatic handgun that most people would carry. It has a potential, and that's why I say potential weapon, because it looks a little fake. At least the holster does to me. The weapon itself you can't see very well. So it's possible, and this happens often in robberies, where people carry fake weapons in order to intimidate, but not necessarily to hurt.
So now that we have an idea of finally kind of almost putting a face to this suspect, if you will, where does the FBI go from here? They've released all well, I don't know about all, but they've released some of these images, some of the video. Now what are they going to do?
Well, it's a good point saying they released some of the video. I like to think that they were able to obtain a lot more video. There were other cameras inside that house, a lot more video, and they know a lot more. Just showing the dedication of going back to the Nest company and the dedication of Nest in order to search through retained data to try to find this. Now, I've done this on multiple cases. It rarely is successful. Rarely are you able to pull old data from within a system out to get this. So this shows dedication to get that done on all sides. But then where you go, it focuses your case. Now you've got something to focus on. It's a slog when you have no real leads, you have no identity or photo of a suspect. Now it comes all back together. You're able to prioritize, triage, work things you think are important, put the resources there, and start pushing to the back burner things that are obviously no longer important.
You know, Lance, something that's circling around on social media right now is all this AI. You know, Grok, show me this guy's face. Does technology exist that you're aware of that can actually do this? Does the FBI ever do that? Use that kind of AI type technology?
You mean to like remove the ski mask?
Yeah.
Funny. There's an old wives' tale of a bank robbery investigation where in the interview, the bank robber is wearing a ski mask, and in the interview, we say, "Hey, the FBI has all this technology. We're just going to use our equipment to remove the mask from this video, and we'll be able to see your face." And then the subject confesses. I don't know if that actually happened or not, but that's an old wives' tale we used to talk about in the bureau all the time. I'm not aware of evidence like that. Now, there are certain facial structures that you can see. There's body structures that you can see, and maybe AI can help with that, identify other people who have similar facial structures or mannerisms or movements. But actually removing something like a face mask, I think, is something I would love to see, but I don't think
science fiction
exists.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I mean, I've seen reports where when they've tried to do that, when somebody is masked, it's gone wrong. So clearly, you know, AI, as we've seen even, you know, in writing form, it's gotten facts wrong. So, you know, it's definitely a risk. Maybe something to look into, but I don't think that you can put it 100% stock into that. Yeah.
What this allows, what these videos allow, is old-fashioned police work to kick in. Track these items down, talk to people who have sold them, identify people who have bought them. It's old-fashioned police work after a tip like this that will solve it.
Does this tell you anything? And I find this video actually disturbing to me because I just think about some elderly, like an aunt or somebody, 84 years old, and this masked person who looks like they're walking off a Hollywood set, right? It's kind of like the typical boogeyman coming in. Does this tell you at all anything, give you any insight as to whether or not Nancy Guthrie may have survived this? If she's in the hands of this person now for a week and a half?
So it's difficult to say, and we only know maybe 1% of what investigators know. So there's a lot of information out there we don't know. All I can do is look to history and look to probabilities. And for a financially motivated kidnapping, for there not to be immediate communication with the family who would pay that money, or immediate attempts in order to get that money and release that victim, especially when that victim is so old, it doesn't bode well. It doesn't look like this person would be able to maintain a victim of that age, non-ambulatory, with medical conditions for such a long period of time. That's what I would worry about.
We do want to believe in a miracle, don't we?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, Savannah and her siblings are, and the grandkids, and everybody's involved in this. All right, Lance, thank you so much.
I
appreciate
hope.
all your insight for sure. Is there anything else that we missed that you want to talk about here? We got like 2 minutes left.
No, I mean, I love that there's a break in this case. Like when I said it gives hope, it gives hope to investigators, it gives hope to the family. I mean, the public should be looking at these very closely. And if you have any indication that you've seen items that you see in that video, or an individual that has mannerisms like that, please call the FBI.
All right, Lance Leising, former FBI Special Agent. Lance, thank you so much. Good
Great
talking with
insight.
you. I'm
Yeah.
sure we'll
Thank
talk
you.
with you again.
Thank you.